All right. Well, this group is one of the closest groups that Titans League has ever seen. And we've got a player who has been in every competitive, like every most competitive group of every gold season as one of the focal points again. Overtaken's history in Titans League, okay? He's been in every single gold league season. First season he made gold, relegated with 6 wins, which is kind of rare. Second season, he got relegated with 7 wins, which is crazy rare. It was a tie-break situation, unfortunate for him. Third season, he got relegated with 6 wins again. He is currently at 5 wins, and the math between these two is pretty much simple. Whoever loses this series is relegated and is out of Gold League. Whoever wins isn't confirmed to stay alive, but has a chance. It will depend on the other sets. We'll have Slam and Lucho fighting for survival, potentially. We'll also have Sobek and Vivi near the top there. So, at least that makes it simple. Whoever wins here, you know, is giving themselves some chances. But would be wild if we have a situation where whoever wins here has a chance, but then results later on actually relegate both of them. Overtaken, more experienced than Guki, as I just explained. Guki is like 16 years old. She's really risen up over the last 2 years. This is the type of player, Guki, Lucho, Prisma. We've got multiple players under the age of 20 in this season of Gold, which could be the future of competitive Age of Empires too. So I thought she was out. I thought she was just straight up out. But then in the 4th round, she beat Sobek 2-1 to give herself some chances. So great performance from her there. We'll see what she's capable of. Her style is definitely a bit more defensive. There's really nothing about her game that you look at and say, like, ooh and ah at. It's typically just very standard, smooth type of play. Overtaken, I think, can be... He can do both. Overtaken can be crazy with his micro. And so I think Overtaken's going to be really looking... Maybe not initially here. Man, both maps are really open, though. I think Overtaken's going to be looking to get some leads and advantages early on. And get some kills on Guki here. So we've seen some generations of this map where there's more wood lines generating for players. This is pretty sparse. Like, there's the wood line here and here. And then not a whole lot else. Obviously, the golds and the stones and the berries, everything is forward then. And it's similar for Guki. She's got this wood line and this wood line. But I don't think there's just going to be this easy wall off, which some players often want to go for. Maybe people can be creative with it. I know with the Chinese, you're always wanting to make an effort to keep your eco safe, but this is very open. And it's good that it's open for both. So, we'll see how it goes, guys. Sick stuff. Someone's asking about the tiers. Yeah, so I can basically touch on the tiers. So, also, the Shorefish generation is a little unfortunate for Guki. We'll see how the villagers path there. So there's really only 2 actual leagues. So there's Platinum, which is top 24. You then have Gold, which is the 24 below that. Silver, because the format is a league format, it's still referred to as Silver League. But technically, Silver is actually just a big knockout bracket. That's essentially a qualifier for Gold. And so Guki came through that. Now, in Guki's case, she lost in the decider. But the player that beat her was not available to play and not communicative and basically got disqualified. So Guki ended up getting in anyways. In a situation we'd obviously love to avoid, but, you know, things happen sometimes. So I wasn't expecting her. I mean, she didn't qualify in the same way as the others. And she was brought in somewhat last minute. So I was not really expecting her to be ready for this. And she's gotten 4 wins, which is respectable. Even if she gets relegated, I think it's been a really respectable season. But now it's like, we know, like, you win this series, you've got chances. Obviously, every win matters. So winning 3-0 would just be massive for either player here. So Overtaken's up quick. Like, this is really, really quick. You wouldn't see this uptime on other maps, but this is because Overtaken has taken the 400 food from the Shorefish pretty much right away. This is going to be gone here as we look at it. So he streamlined his build to be up much faster. His scouts around Guki's base. And we'll also notice that Guki's base is pretty open here. I think there could be some concern here. When you have a map like this, and some generations of Kilimanjaro have been more, they've been more closed at times, or people have been able to wall them up. I think if you're in Overtaken shoes or Guki shoes, you're like, I hope their map is open as well. And it definitely is here. Yeah, I see some other people asking about different players who they may be curious on. You can look at Liquipedia, look at the silver bracket, and see what results are there. But all the names that people are mentioning in chat, they did lose in silver. So they did play. We really didn't have any big players missing. But we did have upsets there where the first seed got knocked out at some stages. So Gabby is a player I saw chat mention. She did play and she lost to Wide. So she lost to Wide, Wide then beat Sorakuma. So I think Gabby and Sorakuma were seated above Wide. I forget. But Wide obviously played this season of Gold in another group. Eventually got relegated, but still he had a really good run there. So Overtaken scouts are here. Let's see if Overtaken's APM. His scouts are there, and so far, I like the eco transitions for him. He's been the aggressor. I wonder if how much army Gabby's going to make here. Or, sorry, not Gabby, Guki. Of course, the two female players that we have 4-letter names that start with G. Of course, it's like Valis and Valeza from Finland. It's like, can't we have so few players from Finland. Why can't we have different names here, you know? I blame chat for bringing Gabby up. I'm going to confuse him now. There's a range now from Overtaken. This is going to be a pretty quick follow-up. Now, again, the way I would describe Guki's style is she's pretty defensive. She's not really huge with those timing attacks. She's more about staying alive in these moments and transitioning into the TCs and whatever else later. Overtaken, he's more of the aggressive player, even bringing spears forward now. Notice how Overtaken didn't rush to wall this like a lot of other players do with Chinese. And then you've got Guki walling up. I mean, this is a big moment for her. Naturally, you're going to stay safe. You don't want to die early, especially against Overtaken. Seems like, depending on micro, she's got just enough to get these walls down. Walling to the right. Still some gaps in the back there, but still, most of the walls are coming up. And Overtaken tracking this. He won't want to lose sight of those archers, or scouts rather, because he's going to be sending archers and spearmen forward. So he's hoping to stop these walls right now. If Guki can get these walls down, her eco is going to be very smooth. Essentially, because she's delayed the range and any archers, she will have more farms. And she also got horse color, which Overtaken didn't. So those farms are going to last longer as well. And I think those walls will go down. And Guki sees the archer now. There's not an awful lot you can do against this, except for just avoid it with your spears, and then hope to use the scouts elsewhere. I think Overtaken seems to sense he doesn't see the scouts from her anymore. Should know those units are coming, and he might be concerned because he is open. So he adds more spearmen. But this is really nice. The spearmen are now going down for Guki. She can't really save them. And she's got to drop a tower on the gold, heads over to the gold as well. I think there's a misclick at play here. Not sure. Maybe she doesn't want to complete the tower yet. But here's her opportunity. So she's safer. She'll see the Vil. She'll go for the snipe. And she won't get it right away. She's going for the spear. Her scouts didn't really group up perfectly there. And there was always more spears and archers coming there from Overtaken. So nice save there from Overtaken. There's a lot to wall up here. And there's so little wood available for the two players. Look at this. Like, this lumber camp's gone soon. Guki now, like, this wood isn't exactly great either. The acacia trees do have 150 wood. She also gets wood from her berries. She also is saving wood because she got horse color. So I think the situation there is actually pretty good for Guki. Overtaken also made a lot of spearmen. We'll see how helpful that's going to be. Like, 6 spearmen on the map? I think at one point Overtaken had 7. I guess the one just got sniped. Still no full walls from Overtaken. He wasn't able to use the aggression to break Guki. She's played very solid in defense. Overtaken should probably wall this up. And Guki's going to snag fletching now, and I think Guki's paranoid about this wood line because the army's moved away, but the spears and the archers actually just moving back now. It's a lot of villagers headed to gold here for Overtaken. He needs more on wood. 17 on gold is crazy. 17 on gold, no market. I think he's going to change that. Seems to be bringing some villagers this way, almost considering a lumber camp here. I think I would probably wait until Castle Age and want a TC, but when you TC, you're going to need a lumber camp anyways, so you gotta move out. You gotta expand eventually if you're both of these two. And here come the archers from Guki. She does have fletching with the scouts, but Overtaken has pretty healthy archer numbers, and Overtaken, once his blacksmith's completed, can get fletching as well. So really skip those upgrades. Archers are now moving forward from Overtaken. He is not tracking the army from Guki. Guki has no clue. Like, Guki's going to assume the opponent is walled now. But has no idea that that wood line's being taken, and Overtaken sees the archers there. And Guki playing patient here. Feels like a good situation for double range crossbowmen for Guki, honestly. Her resources should be really good. Her eco's safe. Like, there's real opportunities here. This is an awkward situation for Overtaken. He'll be in Castle Age faster, but if Guki recognizes this is here, this could be great. And again, those archers not necessarily being tracked. So Overtaken, I'd be worried. I would actually love to see an outpost or two. I would be really concerned my wood line's going to get hit. And, oh man, the scouts from Guki loop around. Guki's probably like, how is he not walled yet? And Guki's going to take an opportunity. I really got to question this from Overtaken. Yes, you need to take this wood line. That's obvious. We had the archer micro here as well. But the other aspect of that, too, is I think you can still wall this. The crossbow is in way faster for Overtaken, though. Killed 2 archers and lost 1. And this was the real army you're worried about. You did not want these archers to show up to this wood line. That shouldn't be too much of an issue now. Scouts are looping around from Overtaken. And Guki has to fall back. But if she can fall back to that tower, get her own upgrades, she could soon push right back out. This would be the time for Overtaken to maybe secure more of the map. 11-4 KD for Overtaken, but no villagers killed. That changes there. Nice Vil snipe. A university for her. And university for Overtaken. But I just keep looking back at this eco. No horse collar, right? How exposed everything is. Like, if he doesn't maintain control, this could be tough. And also, Guki. Look at Guki's wood situation. She's starting to run out of trees as well here. This is where, though, having researched horse collar, the knight got through. That's tough for Guki. She will have to defend from that now and drops the quick walls. Yeah, this is where having researched horse collar is super helpful here. Where was that hole, by the way? Was it between this? I think it was. It must have been. I was looking at upgrades. The knight's still running around. Guki not exactly getting the quick walls down. And this is such a pain right now. She still hasn't clicked ballistics. She still hasn't been able to leave her base. Overtaken has so much map control. And Overtaken's being a nerd. He knows those crossbows are chasing. And now he knows that she's probably going for ballistics as well. You can see some of the inefficiencies on the wood line. A little bit of idle TC time as well from Guki due to the stress. And this knight's going to go down, but that's worth it. You didn't get any upgrades on that. You kill some vills, and you hold the map. This feels like the perfect opportunity for Overtaken to bring villagers to TC. Now, yesterday we saw a TC from someone that was actually on the wood, like right here. I would love that. It secures your wood line, and it gives you control of that gold. Both players are going to have the army. Guki moves forward, and Overtaken has just been smothering her all game. Except for that one moment with the counterattack with the scouts. Overtaken just doesn't hesitate to go try and overtake the enemy. It's a great name for his playstyle. It's like, if his name was I Sit or something, it wouldn't fit, right? Thumb ring even on the way, and Guki's still struggling for control. Look at all the army from Overtaken. Crazy. And they have the same upgrades right now, but look at the difference in the confidence. Like, Overtaken, now he has Thumb Ring, and now Thumb Ring makes a really big difference. Going for the stand ground patrol, because that's kind of our new meta with the Archer Micro. The units don't collide with each other. There's not as much bumping and seeking and searching for the enemy targets. And once you get Thumb Ring, they're firing like machine guns. But now Overtaken comes to the hill. There's Elite Skirm out for Guki. Now, she doesn't have the hill, but Elite Skirm with full armor and ballistics is still pretty good. I think it'd be better for her, though, if she had all of her army together. But she wants to separate herself. This makes sense. She needs some counter damage, and the Skirms can hopefully be the answer to the crossbows. There's going to be siege from Overtaken as well. Doesn't see this. Might find out in the worst way possible here in a second that Guki's here. And, oh man, I mean, that's rough. Might need to delete the TC Foundation, honestly. Micring away. Guki finds some villager kills. The Skirms are now coming in, but there's some leftover scouts, and there's going to be siege. So I think Overtaken's going to be fine. The scouts will obviously die, but they still get some hits. Overtaken tracking here. TC number 2. There is another knight from Overtaken in the back, which I wasn't paying attention to. I don't think Guki knew about. Guki's built her second TC as well. But guys, her crossbows are just being tracked every single second here. The Skirms will be here, though. Overtaken's just played this so smooth. And I think if we were to go back and we were to count trees, as Guki needs some big snipes and she's getting them, he definitely had the worst situation, and it was more difficult over the last few moments. But like, look how on top of his army control he is. He's constantly just hovering around any open areas of Guki. And like Guki doesn't have a base to secure this. Like she doesn't have time to breathe here. Skirms are on the way. And the crossbows are here, and this is horrible for Guki right now. She's behind by 35 population. Overtaken's booming. He'll be on 3 TCs. Found some stone and found some wood there. And I don't know if this is enough skirmishers to even finish off the crossbows, in all honesty. The knight that killed the villager and opened up the walls will be here to help. Overtaken's got siege coming from somewhere. And the knight's not actually attacking, which is kind of a problem. But Overtaken will realize that. And Guki's idle time is just going up significantly. There is a knight there to maybe snipe the siege. The crossbows are around. And Overtaken, when you're being this aggressive, it's very easy to lose track of things like this. Nice snipe there from Guki. Don't think she'll get the next one. But her eco is just horrible. Speaking of eco, Overtaken, it's not like he's got great eco upgrades. It's not like the efficiency's there. It is full focus on the front and with the aggression, but it's working. It's working. It's doing so much damage. The skirms have just not been enough. Overtaken's crossbows here have killed 25 units. And Overtaken takes the first game. So this isn't over for Guki. It's not over for Guki. She could still win these next 2 games, but if she does not win the next 2 games, she will be relegated. Now, it's obviously much better for Overtaken. He needs 3 wins. Because if he wins 2-1, still a chance that he could be relegated with 7 total wins. So every game matters so much. You have the placement prizes. You have the survival. And then you have $20 per win. So there's lots of different things the players are fighting for. But great stuff from Overtaken. I just kind of feel like, though, like this map, it doesn't feel like a neutral map to me between these two. Guki is an Arabia player who likes to wall up and play safe. Kilimanjaro is not Arabia. Kilimanjaro is way more difficult to play. You need the map control. You need the aggression that much more than Arabia. And also, this is Overtaken's very first civ pick as well. So there's that aspect to think about. Guki has her number 1 civ pick saved up for some home maps maybe. But the food eco wasn't clean. Usually you're looking at the Chinese food eco and they have way more. But the crossbow micro and control was just sick there from Overtaken. I loved how he took the hill, added the siege, mixed in the knights. What's the difference in APM? Yeah, you could just tell Overtaken is maybe not as fast as Stone Please, who's also in Gold League, but he's super speedy and super aggressive. I actually watch a lot of his ranked games, and this is even faster than his average ranked game. I think the moment really just had him go crazy there. So, well played. This is before that game happened. Of course, we have 3 sets. We have Overtaken, Guki, Vivi, Sobek, then Slam Lucha. But we're going to just do it game by game because this group's crazy. Overtaken gets the win. Gives Guki a 3% chance now at survival. 3%. Still possible. Gives Overtaken a 50% chance at survival. And then still a 50% chance he's relegated. Obviously, he needs more wins. All right. And then Slam and Lucho could be relegated. Sobek technically could be relegated based on how the sets go. We'll see. All right. Now, I just finished talking about how Overtaken likes to be aggressive. Overtaken now has the Magyar. So I'm curious on this because Guki, what I would expect and what I've seen from her in the past is she will probably take the water control with Japanese. She'll open with scouts and spears like most do. And then she's going to want a wall, right? Wall to the edge of the map, wall between wood lines, get to Castle Age, spam those Cav Archers. It'd be really good for the Japanese. I think Overtaken is going to just play fully open here. I'd be shocked if we see many walls from him. I think he's going to send it more than other people have done on this map. Now, will he incorporate water there? I'm not too sure, but I think his game plan, the difference between him and Guki is that he can really put his foot on the gas here. So, Scrub says, if this league is called Titans League, why is the acronym TTL? Because it's T90's Titans League, Scrub. Scrub, is it mean of me to say that question was quite scrubby, considering it's all over Liquipedia and everywhere else? I think that would be mean, so I'm not going to say that, actually. I'm not going to call you Scrub. Never mind. Thank you, Zach's Beanie, for the 2 months. It says, if Canada... can we stop making if Canada becomes this joke? Can we stop? I don't like those jokes. Silverdog, thanks for the 40 months. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jims. Thank you, Faragaz. Doing great with the names here today. Yashaman, thanks for the 27. Welcome. Sir Yak, Rum Pirates. Papa Silk, what's up, guys? What's up? But yes, it is T90 Titans League. That's why it's TTL. Speaking of acronyms, by the way, if you would like to play in TTL4, that is the T90 Titans League Community Cup. So we'll have different groups for different ELO brackets. So you could be an Uber Noob or, semi-pro. You can use the TTL4 command. Check it out. We had a bunch of people join the Wandering Warriors Community Cup. Had a lot of fun with that. Lots of different people playing, casting, making friends, training. We have a Discord for it if you want to check it out and look into it. So, all right. So 2 vills from Guki. I like this. Some people will bring 1 vill, but if you bring 1 vill, then that villager could be sniped. And so if you don't want that vill to be sniped, you're probably going to get loom. Overtaken just passing here. And so Overtaken... See, normally I'd say you're not going to attack there because there's 2 vills and you'll never get the kill. But Overtaken just sending a message. And Guki's going to get loom? Wow, that's... I mean, better safe than sorry, I guess. But at least... I feel as though this is her fear of Overtaken's aggression, honestly. Overtaken's going to have 1 vill here, and Overtaken's just going to run home. But so she goes for loom, just so those villagers don't get sniped by anything. Adds the first fishing ship. Japanese should have the fishing ships out a little bit faster, just because they save the wood on the lumber camps. So Japanese are definitely the civ for this map, if you're going to play this hybrid approach. There's 0 bonuses at play for the Magyars when it comes to the fish. But Overtaken's still going to do it, which I think is the right play. And then try and play into spears and scouts. So. And that's where you have your bonuses. You have forging, you have the cheap scouts. Now, if they wanted to go for the wall approach, it is doable. The houses for Overtaken are kind of interesting. You would expect these houses to be maybe along the front. This house wall feels kind of random to me. Does anyone here ever play a game and you're just like not really all there mentally and you don't realize what direction you need to scout to find the enemy until like this stage of the game? There are some instances where I'm like it almost looks like Overtaken was thinking the enemy was to the north and then was like, oh crap, the enemy's not to the north, the enemy's to the south, you know? That's what that house wall reminds me of. Dodo says, no, I'm perfect. Oh, okay. Well, we can't all be perfect, unfortunately. Can't all be perfect like Dodo. Yeah, so some of you guys know what I'm talking about. That's good. I don't think that's what that was. Obviously, he had to come this way for the pond, but that's what I thought of. Overtaken will be up a little bit faster. And this is not going to be any surprise to anyone. It's going to be scouts. And Guki, I'd expect to do the same. I think it's important she does the same. I think you can't just think spear defense here. If you just think spear defense, Overtaken's still just going to micro his heart out around your base. So, Guki has to give up on the deer because it's stuck on the edge of the map. We talked about that the other day. But honestly, I think that she should be maybe looking a little bit more actively at the edge of her map. Get the sheep right now. Like, this is the time to have the scout active on the map. So, T90, do you think the game will grow a lot with the game being available on PS5? I really don't know, honestly. I don't have a great understanding of what the market's like there for Age of Empires 2 coming to PlayStation. I know that it coming to Xbox, like, I don't think it necessarily brought in a ton of regular players when it went to Xbox. But what it did do is it brought more eyes to the game's existence because people who use consoles saw it and were like, oh my god. So I've had a lot of people, as Overtaken attacks the fishing ship there, show up and be like, I thought the game was dead. And they're at least, like, watching. But obviously, I could never imagine playing this game on a console, ever. It seems horrible to me. But for people who don't have a PC and for people who want to relive their childhood, it feels like a really good option to try it. So I definitely think there's a little bit of a disconnect when it comes to how I see it versus how someone who hasn't been a part of the community will see it. So, strong fishing ships for the Japanese, but you should be able to make a fire ship and then stabilize here. Guki is not making a fire, she's making a demo, which is very surprising to me, because you can't kill the fire. I really don't like that at all. I don't think that's a good play. Like, sure, she's later to the fire galley than her opponent, but what's the demo do? I guess she wants to demo the fish. But this guarantees you lose your own fish as well. So, okay, I mean, Overtaken accidentally dropped a fish trap foundation there. That was a misclick. And then he loses one fishing ship. His fire galley remains. He will kill all the fishing ships, and he can take out the dock with the fire. So I think a fire would have been better from Guki. But guys, look at the difference. We got walls coming up on the sides. And Overtaken just quick to the timings again. Now, not that Overtaken's not walling a little bit in the back. Interesting that he is utilizing those initial house walls. But we've got a lot of spears out here from Guki and not a whole lot of pressuring the opponent's base right now. Very similar to the first game. It's just her style. Her style tends to be defense first, aggression in Castle Age. Most of her wins are going to be Castle Age, Imperial Age, boomy style battles. The thing is, a lot of people are going to see those walls and spears and they're going to be discouraged. But Overtaken's not going to be discouraged. He sees a spearman, he says, okay, I kill that. He sees another spearman, he might do the same. And this is just the Overtaken that people love to watch. And this is the Overtaken that's really dangerous against Guki. Guys, she needs wins or she's out. This is not what she needs right now. She needs a counterattack, and here she is. So the downside of Overtaken playing a little bit open. Quick walls from Guki. She's got to manage the scouts on the front. Overtaken trying to defend. Kills a scout. Still has the micro the scouts around. There's a lot of vills standing around for Guki on walls right now. And she still hasn't walled the front. She's going to drop a tower as well. And Overtaken needs to keep a close eye on the spears. Guki's still running around. So both players roaming around with the scouts and trying to defend with spears at the exact same time. Who can manage this the best? I've got to point out, Overtaken, even though Guki's going to snipe a Vil, Overtaken just 1 second of TC idle time throughout this. 1 second. Guki about 30 seconds. So that Vil snipe is pretty much erased by that. I do like the farms for Guki, and I like her setup now compared to Overtaken. Overtaken's base is still kind of wild. You're walled here, but that's in the back of your base. You're still open over here. I also think the tower addition from Guki is really helpful here because You kind of expect those archers are going to be coming out, and she did scout the range. This, I don't know. It looks like Overtaken might have the resources to click up. He's built a lot of mills on the hunt here, whereas Guki is just going for the farms. But this could be awkward. I think this is so much better for Guki than the previous game. First off, she's not up against Chinese. She's actually got the better economic civ. And there's actually way more potential for damage right now. But I guess it depends on how Overtaken treats this. If he goes forward and finds walls, that's a problem. If he plays defensive and gets the walls down first, that could be okay. And Guki, she wanted to match the forging upgrade of the Magyar, so she researched that and just ran directly into those scouts. Nice job from Overtaken. This is the correct decision. You got to get your walls down now. You can't be running forward, attacking walls against a fully walled opponent here. And Guki is going to add more scouts. And Overtaken, he will get the hit. Man, the army's just positioned perfectly, isn't it? It's just so good. Like, this guys, I'm sorry, but this is a Gold League player. If he gets relegated again, I will lose my mind. Overtaken should be gold, in my opinion. He's so good. He's so clean. Just the perfect positioning and the patience there. He spaced out his army so he would always see her. And so the additional scouts haven't necessarily paid off for her. She, of course, doesn't know it's fully walled on this side, because it wasn't last time. And now I think with the pathing, she's probably realizing. And here she moves forward, and Overtaken just ready every single time. And Guki still has not clicked up. She'll drop a market now, probably to buy and sell some res to click up. But she is going to be behind in Castle Age. And potentially pretty significantly as well. I mean, that's going to be quite a few archers for Overtaken to utilize. And Overtaken hasn't had to build a tower. So there is a good engagement for Guki. She's hoping that this could lead to more. But Overtaken just kind of blocks the way. And Guki's not able to get anywhere near that force there from Overtaken. Overtaken has just enough. Does lose some scouts, but will be walled. Triple range. I imagine it could be cav archers. But crossbowmen seems like the good opening to go for here. Now, Overtaken hasn't had a single farm up until right about now. So that's something to keep in mind here. That's pretty incredible. And then Guki does have the farm. So the game is actually easier for Guki economically right now. It's harder for her, though, in other ways. She'll have to play defense. So she'll drop another tower on her golds. She bought the stone for that. I'd kind of like to see her mining some of the stone. She's Japanese with cheap lumber camps. Overtaken's cav archers, crossbows, everything marching forward. And Overtaken is probably thinking one tower is not enough. I'm going to go directly to the gold anyway. Smart thinking from Guki to drop the second tower. But she needs to house wall everything on the sides as well. So one army will go to the left. I think Overtaken was distracted by some spears. The spears actually killed the cav archer there. That's not bad. And now the crossbows come to the right, and Guki needs more house walls everywhere. Overtaken, at least camping behind the wood line, still does something. And even camping this area, camping the farms, could be something. I like the activity of the scouts here from Guki to try and get some value from them. But she needs to play catch-up with army here, and she drops range number 3 to go cav archers. Now, Japanese cav archers, they do +2 attack against other cav archers. So that's a positive. And she may be able to find 2 free cav archer kills on this side. Overtaken scouts aren't all attacking immediately, and that's a good clear up for Guki. Again, she has the farms. That's good. But Overtaken's knocking on the door here, guys. He has one group attacking the house, and he has another group attacking the palisade. And Guki's panicked. She's like, he's going to come in. Man, I've never seen a more relatable experience of someone playing against Overtaken. This is this is the most playing against Overtaken situation ever. Tiny gap in towards your TC, where against other players, they'd never run in. But against Overtaken, you know he's going to do it. And you're terrified. And wow, I mean, she needs the university. So she needs ballistics. So that also acts as a wall, but it's denied. And Overtaken has ballistics on the way already. This is looking rough. It's just the same theme. Overtaken is faster to the timings. His aggression seems better. His transitions are super smooth. And he can be the better economic player. But this is what the Magyars are all about. And this is what Jungle Swamp was supposed to be all about. Guki's got nothing, guys. I mean, surprisingly, she hasn't lost more villagers. This is just moments away from her losing everything. Only 4 farms for Overtaken. Pretty crazy. Still no second TC. Ballistics is in, though. And Guki now getting ballistics as well. Guki is 3 ranges. Ballistics will be in 25 seconds. Overtaken hasn't broke her yet. But he refuses to leave the doorstep. Also, Bloodlines isn't in for Overtaken, which it's at the stage of the game where he may have forgotten that. It's actually pretty significant. So 50 HP on each Cav Archer versus 70. And then you have the Japanese CA bonus. So the Japanese CA bonus is pretty amazing in CA Wars. This would be Guki's way back. I think eventually Overtaken's going to look and realize he doesn't have it because his Cav Archers died so quickly. Guki's villagers just running out of space. Still keeping the light cav active on the map, though, which is good. And she's even taking deer there. She's got to move away from there. You can't be on the front of your base like this against Overtaken. Siege Workshop. Just another thing that you can work with to try and defend from this. Cav Archer count is getting pretty close, though. Oh, and Guki's going to counter it. Oh, dude. This is crazy. And now Overtaken's going to dive. Oh, that was interesting. Do you see that? Guki almost came back. Oh, actually, hold on. Overtaken caught a glimpse of that, I think. I think he caught a glimpse of that army running his way. I swear I saw it on screen, but it might have just been a casting thing. It's still wild he doesn't have Bloodlines. Like, no Bloodlines is horrible. Yeah, he definitely knows the army's coming. He also was repairing because of the light cav. Oh, man, the crossbows are getting hit by the tower. That's brutal. I think Guki can win this, guys. Scorpion and double tower defense is fine. The counterattack's going to be brutal. All hell's going to break loose for Overtaken. He's definitely not going to get Bloodlines if this is happening. Guki can win this game. Panic market here from Overtaken to give himself a couple more seconds for his own CA to come over here. There's 16 CA here for Guki. Overtaken cannot allow her to get through. He needs to do the same thing. Delete the market, place another. Just to buy time. You lose the vills, it's okay. You just can't lose everything else. And there we go. Now, he does have Thumb Ring. And he still has greater unit control, in my opinion. But that was what Guki needed. She needed time and space to breathe. Look at this wood situation. Buys the stone for a TC. If that TC completes, that's massive. And now Bloodline's the big upgrade for Overtaken, finally. Still no second TC. Still no Horse Collar. Still no Bowsaw. Like, this has been aggression focus. The definition of aggression focus. But look at this control. So again, this is what all the best players are doing now with their ranged units. You stand ground, so your units don't bump into each other, and they don't like seek units, especially with the pathing at the moment, they're constantly seeking targets and going weird directions and bumping into each other. So if you go stand ground, they ignore the other's hitboxes and they stack. And this is how everyone really at the highest level should be microing their CA, and Overtaken just doing it perfectly. Look how many units he killed. There's so many. Well, I guess the bodies are gone now. But there were 16 Cav Archers in that group originally. I think she just met up with new units to make it 15, but... yeah, and then it makes you more vulnerable against siege shots. Then Scorpions and Mangonels can hit the entire stack, absolutely. So there is downsides to it. So you have to pay close attention when you do it that way. Second TC for Overtaken. I love how they're prioritizing the front of their bases and the wood. And the Cav Archers are here. And Guki aiming to counterattack again. But her economy is... I mean, it's not enough from Overtaken to break her. Her economy's not great. Also, love how Overtaken is house-walled the entire right side. That's where Guki will go. Feels very similar to the previous game. Guki just more defensive, now falling into elite skirm. And Overtaken just not farming at all. And it feels like he's finding the payoff here with this army. Kilimanjaro and Jungle Swamp were designed to be super aggressive type of maps. And yeah, those Scorpions are going to go down. Now, the skirms are a greater issue eventually, but the Scorpions are going to go down. Overtaken will get the snipes there. Lots of idle times for Guki. And her army gets spotted here on the wall. She can't really get through. And she just cannot keep up with Overtaken at the moment, guys. Now, even though if she loses this game, it confirms that she is out. The next game still gets played. These crossbowmen found 5 kills, by the way. I don't know where they were. But Overtaken found them. So the final game still gets played, and the final game is still really important. Because Overtaken can win this 2-1 and still get relegated. I think he might even still be able to be relegated if he wins this 3-0. But we'll double check that. The armor is not in for the skirms yet. Also, it's just a numbers issue. It's so similar to the previous game. Overtaken just got so many units. It's like, yeah, Guki, you get the counter units. But 28 army against 8 is the problem here. Overtaken does not seem to be too dismayed about losing a couple cav archers here. Yeah, he's confident. I would just like to see him fall back. This could be a way you throw the game. Maybe just fall back, add some siege, start to push from the north of this TC. But this is Overtaken for you. He just can't help himself. Overtaken safe with a 3-0. Okay, so he's safe with a 3-0, but that would put more pressure on Lucho and Slam then, right? Overtaken just going to run in now. This has been open for a while. 3-0 is safe. 2-1 makes it complicated. Got it. Well, from a drama standpoint, complicated's good. But I don't know if I can deal with complicated with some of these names. Slam, Overtaken, Lucho. Honestly, some of my favorite players in all of TTL. This is a good fight for Guki. I think Overtaken gets a little bit punished, but you know what he doesn't get punished with is this army. So the entire army from Guki out of position to kill the other. And Overtaken finds 5 or 6 more villagers, forces a lot more idle time. Guki will kill this eventually. That much is clear. But it's not like she killed it without losing some CA of her own. And Overtaken, pretty solid eco now. Still doesn't have the craziest food eco ever, though. It's pretty wild. It's just like... This is Tourney Age of Empires. He's just full send right now. I think the best play, for him is just mangonels here. Your heavy wood, heavy gold. Look at the amount on gold. 34 on gold. So yeah, mangonels with the CA right through the middle. Now, it's awkward to move around, but that would be the play. It is 3 TCs for Guki. It is Japanese versus Magyars. Japanese have some solid options there. This game of just making more CA gets risky. I think he needs the wood right now. I think he's waiting for the wood for a siege workshop. A bunch of vills will go to stone. He needs a group of villagers on gold to go to wood. Right now, like all these vills just go to that wood line, and his eco's looking a lot better. Does recurve bow CA beat Japanese CA? Yes, I would say it's much better. But Japanese Halb, like Halb Skirm CA, still all pretty strong as the Japanese. I understand why people are saying he should make 2 knights. I don't actually think 2 knights is very good here because there's CA in the mix. And then you need to invest into armor. Then you need to invest into more than 2 knights. Overtaken's an absolute madman. He's an absolute madman. He's just like, I am going to micro, and your army will do nothing. Doot, 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 doot. Yeah, just like... The thing to learn here, people, just add a mangonel. Just add some siege. Don't listen to me, I'm 1,000 elo. No. What you said, like, knights is a really good idea. Knights is a really good thought. I'm not saying that's a bad thought. I'm explaining why at this level, what that would lead to. That's actually a really good suggestion. Something he could have done is he could have dropped like 2 or 3 more stables and gone all in Castle Age Knights. But you have to kind of choose between either extreme. Sorry, my scroll wheel on my mouse has something going on. So every time I try and make adjustments, sometimes it goes crazy. I'm not sure if I need to clean it or what, but that's why that's happening every so often. Overtaken just thinks, you know what beats skirms even harder than siege? Imp upgrades. and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Imp upgrades for these CA and Guki will struggle with everything she has. Overtaken had no time for eco upgrades. He'll start to get those. Look at the farming eco, though. Like, he has out-farmed her. Even though it was like 20 farms versus 0 at one point. Thank you, Chuck. Love to hear it. 20 seconds away from the upgrades Overtaken, and he's positioned his base so perfectly right now. Anywhere Guki goes, she could have problems. She can't be next to the siege workshop. She can't hit the TCs on either side. There's house walls over here. Overtaken's an imp. And Guki hasn't even clicked. And so now, this army you built up to counter this, the upgrades that are good enough, if it's Castle Age v Castle Age, are now no longer going to be good enough. Parthian Tactics is on the way. Bracer's on the way. Chemistry's on the way. And look at Overtaken. That's 40 units, guys. Just patrolling in non-stop. This is a player who didn't hesitate in situations where the average player would. But now the average player would never hesitate. So I just really don't see a world where Guki has many chances now. He's going to jump on everything he sees now. We may even see a forward castle, honestly. There's reasons for defensive castles with Magyars, because their unique unit is sick, and you want the unique text and whatnot, but this is Overtaken, so I would imagine he might be bringing the villagers to drop a castle on this TC. Guki did click up, so it's now her turn to try and position her army and her base perfectly to not die. There are a couple random skirms going that way. I think that's just a misclick. Overtaken did catch a glimpse of that castle. I don't think he actually noticed that himself, though. Yeah, now he's going to see it. It's just units rallying that way. And, yep, there's the forward castle. Now, that is on the Imp TC. I think Guki will still make it to Imp. But that castle will be a perfect castle to make trebs for the TCs or for the castle. Nice job from Guki, though. She didn't actually lose a lot the last few moments, but she's just kind of holding on here. Overtaken's got relics coming in. Overtaken's got TCs everywhere. And Overtaken, honestly, he could get recurve bow. He has the eco to be able to snag armor and go full Hussar as well. Like, this is devastating. And okay, so Guki makes it to Imp. But that TC will go down pretty quickly. I also love this, by the way. A lot of players aren't doing this. When you put your army in a castle like that, it's really strong. Look how fast the TC goes down. And then it heals as well. So, I like that decision. This is also great from Guki, because you can't fight that main army right now. You need to find some type of counter damage. So, there she goes. Overtaken's actually got a gap there. She could maybe run into the back and make life interesting. There's an opportunity here for Guki. That's a bad raid for Overtaken to deal with. That's bad. This is most of his safe farming eco. And look at him. He's even sending this group back. He was not prepared for that at all. Okay, there's another group coming back. That's a crazy raid. Now, there's also the Treb here. Guki is trebbing that Treb and using skirms. So maybe she keeps her castle. I think she will lose her army, though. Yeah, she will lose her army. Overtaken had a lot of idle time. The other thing, though, is Overtaken has the food. So it didn't hit him at a time where his food eco was really struggling. Guki should know. If she loses this game, she is relegated. She has to win this and the next game. So TCs are coming up to survive. Castle's being repaired. Treb on Treb continues. But the CA go down. 140 vills for Overtaken. And now all this army can move forward again. And starting to snag the armor upgrades. But I think the castle for Overtaken, I mean, it's accomplished a decent amount, but It might end up going down here. Look at those shots there from the CA, though. That's crazy. It kind of feels like a 10 times tech game when I look at that. Like a community game. But it's just because I'm not used to seeing it in competitive AoE. Very rarely are people camping in their castles like that. So this CA group moves over here to slaughter. And this CA group is going to move to the right where Guki doesn't have any protection except TCs. And when you're Cav Archers, you have all the time and space to just back away. So Overtaken backs away against the skirms and moves in. Yeah, Guki's just... she's got nothing here. She's got nothing. She cannot keep up with this. Even if she trebs this castle down, she won't have the rest of the map. This castle is just a desperation castle to hold on. I think the only thing that Overtaken's missing now is the Cav switch, and he's already doing it. Stables are up. Hussar tech is in. Hussars are going to dive. Missing a lot of the armor you would want, but should be able to snipe the Trebs soon. I don't think Overtaken expected there to be a castle there. That's like a super defensive castle, but it's not enough. More villagers will die. And 20 Hussars in queue for Overtaken. 75 on food. And he wants to sweep. It's critical that he gets to sweep, because he has been one of the unluckiest players in Titans League. I'm definitely thinking about making a video on that, by the way. I think if Overtaken were to get unlucky relegated again, I would definitely have to make a video that's like the unluckiest player in AoE 2 or something. I don't think... like, how many people here are watching their first seasons of first season of TTL? Even, like, many of you guys might have watched in video form, but a lot of people might not have watched live because I was on Facebook, you know. So I think there's a lot of people that just don't know how crazy the situation was. Definitely worth a video at some point. Trebs get trebbed, but now the Trebs are going to get winged by the Hussars. And Guki taps out. Guki loses. Still have that final game. Still, final game means a lot. But we didn't know coming into today who would be relegated at all. We do have one player now. Guki, even with a win in game number 3, will be statistically out and back down to silver to try and come back to gold again. Now, we're going to pull up the odds here in a second. That's not job done for Overtaken. Not at all in this group. But I just love his play. I just love his play. Like, you can see how solid Guki is as a player. In both games, she plays safe, she plays defensive, and she has good macro. But against a player like Overtaken, who can hit those aggressive timings and do what he does with it, it's just really tough for her type of style to break through. And that's going to take experience for her. What, she's like 16 years old? I mean, this is, even if she's relegated, this is obviously still a great accomplishment to make it into gold. So Overtaken, 2 wins. Guki's 100% 6th place. 5th or 6th doesn't matter, you're out. So she's out. Overtaken still a 20% chance that he could be relegated. 20% chance he can be in playoffs in 3rd place. 60% chance he's 4th, which just means he's, you know, back in gold next season. Now, if he wins this, he is confirmed safe, and whether or not he makes playoffs depends on the other sets. If he loses this, he is a 40% chance of being out. All depending on, I think, what would happen between Lucho and Slam later. But yeah, he needs to snag more wins. But otherwise, his fate is in Slam and Lucho's hands, which is the final series of the day. Oh, man. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so game 3, we just looked at it. Overtaken, if he were to lose this, could still be relegated. He needs to control what he can control and get this win, get this important 3-0. Guki, of course, is out, but she could say, "You're coming down with me," Overtaken. And honestly, she's played solid. She's played really solid in these games. Again, the style difference seems to be, though, she tends to wall and get punished a little bit for it. And she just has never really been the aggressor. So mean, if you're already out, the pressure's maybe somewhat gone. Why not switch it up a little bit? I'd like to see Guki make some army numbers here. I'd like to see her play open and aggressive. She's got the Hindustanis, a great tip to punish some walling if Overtaken chooses to go for the walls. And then we got Vietnamese from Overtaken. And I was surprised that he picked Ravines. I really thought that he would pick... Well, I guess Kilimanjaro was game number 1. So that seems like the perfect map for him, which... You know, maybe begs the question if Guki needs to try and enhance, like, just expand, like, what type of maps she enjoys in later stages of her career, right? Because I think it is at a level where against Overtaken you want to avoid that. But, like, there's other maps out there where you would think Overtaken would have won it as a home map. But apparently not. I like Vietnamese a lot. I also think that this is still probably going to be scout opening from both. But Overtaken did have a reputation for forwarding a lot on Arabia. That was kind of what... Well, the first time he really made a big name for himself was Hidden Cup 3 qualifiers, where he was just going YOLO. I remember a cross game where he picked Mayans and dropped like 6 castles. It was crazy. But on Arabia, he started and he would go forward with 3 vills every time. You just knew he was going to do it. And he would go Spear Skirm. And I saw Vivi go Spear Skirm with Vietnamese. Can someone... Hold on a second. Can someone look up what happened in the previous rounds? I think it was Vivi Slam? Vivi picked Vietnamese, and he went Spear Skirm forward. Spear Skirm towers and made it super messy. I'm just wondering if that was against Overtaken. Spear charged... there's 3 sets today. So we finish out the group. There's 6 players in the group. 3 sets. This is our first one. It was Vietnamese. It was trash forward from Vivi there. Interesting. Okay. Again, if Overtaken wants to go back to his roots, but like, you also could just simply go for the scout opening and clearly go... Things go very well for you against Guki so far today. So we'll see if he does the same thing. But Slam and Lucho really need Overtaken to lose this, I think. It puts more pressure on whoever loses the Slam Lucho series. I think, but it may be, we'll see, whoever loses the Slam Lucho series is out regardless. So I think it may even depend on how much they lose by. Oh, man, what a crazy set. I'm so pumped for that, dude. I'm so pumped. Overtaken scouted enough to know that he could wall up. So he seems like he is going to be the waller. And Guki is not done so. Guki just pushing in deer. There's no boars on this map, so this is your typical Dark Age. T90, do you think she can and maybe should focus on playing with counter units more since she lacks in micro? Or do you think she should keep at it and try to improve micro? Well, she does play with counter units a lot, though. Like, she's played Skirm every game. That's a counter unit, right? So there's pros and cons to it. Guki is 16 years old, okay? She's freaking 16, and she's at this level. That's insane. So you got to think, life isn't as busy as 16. $20 a win matters way more at 16 than it does at, like, 31 or whatever. So there's lots of reasons she's going to hang around, right? And she's going to play, and naturally she should improve, right? But her style... It's one of those where it's like, you make it this far because of your style, so trying to change it is really tough. She is a slow style. And I don't know if you can just learn speed, right? Like, there's players who are freaking 36 years old in this game, and they're just, like, super high APM. And then there's guys who are super slow, and they always happen. So I don't know if you can learn speed. I think the thing that Guki eventually needs to get slightly better at is other maps than Arabia. Because she gets her experience in ranked. She's had a very short career. So, like, my thinking on the draft, right? It's like Overtaken's a super aggressive land map player. You got to diversify. I think her style could work on Fortified Clearing. Her style could work on Arena. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. And the best way players diversify their skill set is experience. And that's easy enough to do if you just keep playing, so... Yeah, someone, when they found out she was 16, said, I've been playing this game for 15 years, never been above 1,300. I hate this game. I saw that in chat. So Guki is actively making people hate Age of Empires. She's ruining the game, honestly. How dare she? But yeah, that's a deeper conversation. I just don't think it's easy to be like, I don't think it's as simple as, oh, this person's young, so they could just be fast. Naturally, some people can get slower as they age, but like, I don't know. It just comes down to experience. So stable for Guki. It's funny how things have flipped now. Overtaken's the one who's playing defensive in this one. I don't love his eco setup. I mean, I love the eco for Vietnamese. But this wood line really gives me problem. And wait a second. He's not... Yeah, like, these walls aren't connected. That's kind of funny. He did wall up a lot of space here, though. So that's good. T90, would she beat you? I have... Guki and I are like 50-50 on ladder. I haven't actually played her that much. But we're like 50-50 on ladder. Would she beat me in TTL settings? Right now, absolutely. I think like my style is kind of like Guki's actually. So I actually kind of like playing against her. And I can relate to the struggle she's had here because I've died to Overtaken countless times. With the same struggles. But let's face it. She's got so much more time, so much more room to improve. And there's her career's been so short. So lots of experience plays into any part of my levels, more so than any skill or something. So T90, I think that was a good answer. I do think, however, that micro and speed practice is very different than just playing the game. Yeah, yeah, there's different ways you can play it. But I like, this is the first time in this series where I've been like, this is what I like to see from Guki. Just a little bit more army and feudal. She's delaying her farms. She's bringing the scout numbers. She's the one going with that next level. And so Overtaken now, he's the one who plays defensive, and now he's kind of getting punished by it. The archers are here. The spearmen can't advance forward. And remember, this win matters so much for Overtaken. Also, Overtaken doesn't have the bonus to break down walls with his scouts. Now, this is an interesting one. This is chasing these scouts instead of applying pressure. How much of this is fear of you're still open right now? That could be part of that. It feels like an opportunity for her to still keep going forward, and you just play defensive with your spears. I feel like we've fallen into a how can Guki improve conversation, which we should probably get away from. But it's just things like that, you know? I like this. These scouts and archers need to be applying pressure to the walls right now. And Guki gets hit by the spear. Well played from Overtaken. But I think she just feels a little uncomfortable if she's exposed. And walls come up. Double checking for the holes. Fully walled on the left side. Lots of space just like Overtaken. And Overtaken. This is Hindustani scouts, my friend. These are archers with fletching. It brings just enough army out here, though. Does have skirms. And there's a hole! There's a hole for Overtaken! This could be horrible. Oh, I'd love to see her. Man, I wonder if there's an argument to possibly just dive there. Probably not, because if you dive with one of your armies, the other army will die. Still really good harassment, still really good control, and stressful times for Overtaken. Man, would be pretty crazy if Guki wins this game. I mean, that's the best for the drama to close out the day. But how many people with ones in chat are big Slam fans? And you don't want that drama. Deep down, you don't want the drama. You're going to watch, but you're like, oh, no. I don't want it. I mean, or Lucho fans. I mean, Sobek fans, Vivi fans, there's so much. Yeah. Again, you can really justify those additional scouts here for your Hindustanis because you break through the walls so quickly, but nice job here from Overtaken to stabilize things. It looked like it could have been a little awkward for him. First time he gets Horse Collar and Feudal Age and is actually farming in this series. And the skirms are on the correct side of this wood line here. Get an extra snipe. So lots of skirm production for Overtaken. And good farming eco. 19 farms there. Guki's up to 14, but she's going to take her second thing of berries now. Which hasn't happened for Overtaken, so that should be pretty close. And now Guki's really going to need the numbers here. Scout Archer is superior to Scout Skirm if you can micro it perfectly, but it is more expensive to be out on the map with and harder to get to because it's not just food and wood. And Overtaken just dives immediately on the archers. He does not seem to care at all. A lot of the skirms are weak, though, so I guess if Guki can't kill the spears, she can't be in there with the scouts. Just no hesitation from Overtaken, and again, a beautiful snipe, and again, another opportunity, and Guki, you could tell what she's aiming for. She wanted the grouping of armies. She's trying to bring it all together, but Overtaken's micro is just so good. He's bringing more spears as well. He understands what's happening here. More spears, more skirms are on the way. A lot of weak skirms in the group, but there always seems like it's just enough for Overtaken to make Guki guess a little bit. Market now from Guki. So she'll want to go up to Castle Age. Another game where Overtaken's not really opting for that market. He'll probably build it now. Feels like a natural spot to build it, but I just said he wouldn't, so that means he's going to. Nope, second range. And so Guki will click up, but she figures we've got to send it. She sells off her stone. And she'll click up, so she won't have the stone for the second TC. But the timings could be critical here. She'll add a range. May go 2 stable, 2 range here. But the thing that's kind of frustrating, though, when you're playing Hindustanis against Vietnamese, and they make this many skirms, you can't make knights. And you can't really easily justify immediately going to stone and going for Ghoulims. A castle's pretty expensive. So eventually, Ghoulims could be a really good unit, but Overtaken clicks up. We'll expand his walls a bit more to secure better areas of the map. Woodline's going to be really awkward if he doesn't do that. And can Guki deal with just the sheer number of skirmishers here? From Vietnamese as well, right? Extra HP. So much army from Overtaken. I think Lycav is your best option. Like having some siege. Guki's actually making her own skirms now to try and match the opponent's skirms and tries to move around. Overtaken just on top of it, dude. Like, his unit control is so good. It's just so good. I think Overtaken is, skill-wise, is worthy of playoffs, honestly. And it would not shock me if he 3-0s here and gets a chance at playoffs if he actually makes it to Platinum this season. I don't know what the odds are to make it there. I think it's still dependent on the other sets, right? But, like, he's playing really sharp. 75 pop for him, 22 minutes in. And Guki clicks up. Doesn't click up. Makes it to Castle Age. And Overtaken maybe a little bit surprised by that. But then again, he did make a bunch of skirms here. And there's no better time for Guki to find engagements. But that's still so much army. Overtaken knows the upgrade should come in for Guki, so needs to be patient. Backs up behind the gate. Gets a lead skirm. Will get Bodkin. Also drops the university for ballistics. And I just don't know if Guki's army is good enough against this many skirms. Like, Siege changes everything, though. That's a good call. That's a very good call. If that Siege Workshop completes, it'll make Overtaken's life difficult. And ballistics is on the way. Armor's on the way. Overtaken realizing that these areas are really exposed right now. Maybe a little bit paranoid there's a hole beyond that woodline as well. But with some houses, the Lycav shouldn't be able to break through right away. They could break through eventually. And now the army in the middle is exposed for Guki. She does have her own elite skirm upgrade. She does have a Mangonel on the way. But Overtaken, he might just run right past this. If you bring a knight to camp the siege workshop, you can just run right past this. And ballistics is now in. Not in for Guki, of course. And Guki's siege is going to need to be the answer here. There's just full skirm from Overtaken. There's a flag on the siege workshop, bro. And Guki lands a really good shot. It could have been better, though. And Overtaken's micro is insane. He ducked beneath both of those shots, guys. He grouped his units and ducked beneath the shot. And he'll clear everything. He should, anyways. I don't think the Lycav have the strength here against this many skirms. That was absolutely unreal. A lot of people get headshotted there, and then they're screwed. Still needs to be respectful of this Mangonel. And does get hit by 2 skirms, but now Overtaken's in a position where he can cut off all reinforcements. And honestly, with how he plays, he may just dive. You know there's not going to be siege in there. You know your opponent can't make knights. Like, I think he just dives. Guki's not walled, right? I think she realizes ballistics is in. So she'll panic University up to get ballistics as well. And there is a gap here. So that villager's just trying to quick wall that right now. And the skirms have just pulled everything from Guki back. She's no longer able to push. Overtaken now can come to the hill to town center that wood and gold. But ballistics on the way for Guki. Again, she is out. She is relegated. But she wants to go down swinging here. Again, a little surprised that Overtaken didn't even make a single knight to camp that siege workshop. That's definitely what I would have done. But he's just like, nope, we only make skirms. Because my opponent can't make knights. Uh-oh. Big shot for Guki, maybe. The wood line's kind of awkward here. This is good for Guki. The light cav are getting some hits. She has ballistics as well. She's now showing that she can micro. And yeah, the light cav get value there, guys. Light cav get a lot of value. More skirms will come in. Overtaken, same issue as before, where he just doesn't have a ton of farms because he's so heavy with the micro. And Guki could be okay here. We'll lose the light cav. The skirms for Overtaken are going to back away. But she drops the second TC. She still has siege out on the map. Overtaken has not dealt with this. And Overtaken now drops TC number 3. So essentially what Overtaken's able to do is he kills another Mangonel. What he's able to do, his micro is so good that he doesn't have... He eventually finds a moment in the game where he can macro. But it's not really a crazy, like, balanced situation, which is what Guki kind of goes for. Like, the ratios. Let's say throughout the whole game, Guki's going to have a ratio of 70% macro and 30% micro. But Overtaken will have stages where it's like 70% micro and 30% macro, and then he switches. Once he's got a big lead, then he expands his economy. Really interesting. But this is by no means an easy situation right now. The fact that this siege workshop has been completely ignored is baffling to me. And there's never been a knight there. There's never been a single unit that could stop more siege from coming out. And Overtaken's trying to micro his vills to complete his siege workshop, and it will be denied. And Guki, here to spoil the party, is all over this TC. This TC is such a massive liability, and the panic now sets in. And this, by the way, this is the first time we could talk about it this way. The fact that you haven't balanced your eco perfectly up to this point now becomes a massive problem. Oh my god, and Guki, don't get too crazy here. She wants to deny the next siege workshop. Oof, but she does lose one of her Mangonels. And still, though, I actually really like this. This is pretty crazy. Look at her send it. The longer you delay the siege workshop, the better this gets for you. Siege workshop should end up going up. But look at the resources for Overtaken, guys. He's falling apart. Thankfully, he has a market with his resources right now. But you invest so much wood into repairs in these situations. It's so expensive. He's in a really uncomfortable spot. Now, let's see how much pressure Guki continues to pile on. There's the third Mangonel on the way. Can Overtaken micro his way out of this one? Has the Vil lead, but the efficiency's not there. Resources collected is the same. There's the Mangonel. Guki with the micro. And now Guki knows enough to have to respect that. Overtaken has microed so well this series. Can he do it again? Even trades. Guki's now backing away, being a little bit more patient. Could see a third TC. The thing is, you have to manage that, though. I personally, I wouldn't mind it. That's a decent TC. Outside the base is a little weird, but that's fine. Wouldn't mind it. But I really like the +2 armor upgrade. You need every bit of armor you can get when you can't make knights. Now, maybe Overtaken just buys stone to just drop a castle here now that Guki's backing off. Do you see the respect she's giving him? If the role's reversed, right? Like, Overtaken's like, "Bro, we will kill, bro. This ends the game." But Guki's like, I could throw the game. I need a little bit more patience. I'm not saying that I don't think the patience is a good idea. I do think the patience is a good idea. You can always come back. Yeah, she does have no gold income right now, which is interesting. And she will try and shift focus a little bit to the left side. And Overtaken gets hit. I like the outpost idea from Overtaken, but he just doesn't know what's out there right now without it. He wasn't able to complete it, and he was very fortunate there. Still 0 villagers on gold for Guki. Does she have a market? She does. She built it earlier. She doesn't need vills on gold, though, if she doesn't lose her mangonels. She's making light cav and skirm, and she has 5 mangonels. She can't actually repair her siege, which is kind of crazy, actually. Imp? Huh? What? Only Overtaken, bro. Like, everyone else makes a tech switch. Everyone else is like, get me some knights out here. Overtaken's like, nah. If I get Bracer on my skirms, I win. Imp? TC's on fire. Archer range going down. Barracks going down. He's going Imp. That's crazy. Let's see if it works out for him. Light cav raid from Guki. She'll aim to make life difficult for Overtaken. But the skirms are out of position now. And so the mangonel for Overtaken gets sniped. And now the siege is all back on the TC. That's a great move from Guki. The light cav open up this opportunity again. And another mangonel goes down for Overtaken. He's imping. He is imping. Still 0 on gold for Guki, by the way. Patience pays off. Light cav went down. Idle time through the roof for Overtaken. Overtaken might be the one without gold here in a second. Light cav are actually still back here. And Overtaken is trying to drop a castle in case this gets worse. Crazy. Does he know about this gold above him? Probably does, right? He does. Light cav are still in the back. Guki sold 1,000 wood for gold. And kills her own light cav on the siege workshop. We've all been there. And now Imp is in. Like, that's crazy that he's Imp. And the Vill count's even. And so now we get to see the great skirmisher micro of Overtaken. Guys, he could still so easily lose his entire army here. Oh, you're crazy, bro. You're stressing me out. Did you see that? Bracer wasn't even in yet. And he just can't help himself. That's crazy. Guki does land a decent enough shot. His micro is unreal. The same rules do not apply to you, to Overtaken and you all watching right now. Guki's probably has no clue. She's like, Imp? How is he Imp? 30 skirms. I ate his TCs. It makes no sense. But she has time, guys. She has time to cook, and she's imping as well. And she's got the superior eco. Not necessarily in vills, but in efficiency. Now, this is where I think she needs to go Ghoulems. Now, you could go light cav, but I think if you can make a hard switch to Ghoulems, that would be your best option. Overtaken has this defensive castle. That he won't be broken easily. He's got lots of eco in the back. Probably needs a castle on the left side to secure there. Maybe a castle on this hill where he lost the TC. Now, the skirms outrange the mangonels. And so they can actually take all of this out. They will also could take out the light cav too because of the imp upgrades. So there's a lot of time for Overtaken to cook right now. And, I mean, he's getting imp skirm as well, which I always kind of forget about with Vietnamese. Yeah, so he can make the skirms even stronger. And Guki's like, I gotta be able to take good fights against this, right? Oh my god, Overtaken with the split, but he needs another! That micro was sick. That micro was sick. He could have lost so much more. It's still, I think, a decent enough fight for Guki, though. You're still pushing back the skirms. You still could deny a castle. Like have full upgrades here. But Overtaken was just a bad step away from losing everything immediately there. Castle might not go up. 70%. That's a lot of siege. The skirms are on the backside. Nah, castle goes up. Castle goes up. And all the siege around will go down. With 2 castles, it feels like a good opportunity for Overtaken to make Rattens with the skirms. Because Rattens are a much better unit against the Light Cav. And that's what he'll do. Man, I mean, his style is just hilarious to watch. It's crazy. Oh, man, that Mangonel fired faster than I was expecting. I wonder if it was the same for him. Oh, man, Guki lands another shot. I want to see Guki's map control right now. Yeah, I mean, she could easily raid the left. All these castles are in the same spot. This whole area from Overtaken just a massive liability. Guki's got to play a raid game. Like I said, her late game is fantastic. Random villagers from Overtaken in the farming eco. They'll get sniped. Final armor coming in for Guki's Cav. She's got 50 on food to spam them. Guys, I think Overtaken struggles here. He can't play this whole skirm game easily. Rats and archers is not feasible if you also need trebs. I think full hussar spam can do this for Guki. There's so many vulnerable areas of Overtaken's eco. Quick walling here to keep these light cav out, but these light cav find damage. Now he'll drop gates to block this off. The gate actually opens there, so those light cav could maybe run to the back. And yeah, I mean, this now could open up the rest of the hussars to snipe the trebs. The distraction's already there. This is already good. Oh man, she's already through over here as well. I guess it just comes down to if Overtaken can take the castle and keep these trebs alive. He's gone for 6 trebuchets. There are the hussars. Soon full upgrades. Overtaken out of his castle to repair. The castle for Guki's being repaired. Only 3 of the trebs are firing on it. She's keeping it up. The trebs have started to pack up here. They're not going to fire anymore, which I don't think was intentional. I just think he's selecting things in the group here, and now another treb goes down. The castle for Guki is staying up, and there's hussars in the back. Will we look back at this game as the reason Overtaken gets relegated instead of somebody else? Can Guki get this win? Could she spoil the safety of Overtaken here? I think she can. Still crazy to me. I don't know how Overtaken does it. Like, he's been in the worst position all of Castle Age. Still, the Vil counts even. So, well done. But the eco's not. 50 on food for Guki. She's got map control. She could be getting relics. There's so much she can do. And she has more trebs in defense. This should be impossible for Overtaken. And the hussars dive. Those trebs are gone. They should be gone. And if they are gone, the castle will be gone. Because Guki can just use these trebs against the castle. This is over, guys. Guki's done it. So even though she was relegated, she still puts up an awesome fight. I think I need to settle down a little bit, because obviously knowing the stakes, Overtaken is still going to put up a massive fight here, and he's an incredible player. He's still got decent pop. If he can keep this castle up, maybe it's doable. If he can get to Elite Rattens, if he can get to Halbs as well, like, that's the combo you want here. Maybe. But it feels... I've seen Guki play in these positions. Her late game is so good. This should be the position for her to be able to get the victory. And it is. Oh, is this scripted, dude? Oh, man. This makes the final 2 sets of the day that much more interesting. Well played to Guki. Gets her win. And she'll be out anyways, but that was a really good fight. I gotta question the whole Imperial Age with 30 skirms as your TC is being eaten thing from Overtaken on a strategy level. When it comes to him, he's an amazing micro player. So it's understandable that he would think that he could micro that back. But I think maybe the thing that could have gone differently for him is knights. Obviously, making knights against the Hindustanis is kind of tricky because they go camels. But I think even just a couple nights earlier in that game, camping that Siege Workshop, stopping more Siege from coming out could have potentially made life easier. I thought Overtaken was going to 3-0 this because of how the first 2 games went and how inevitable it felt. But Guki shows everyone what she's made of. And there's the res difference. Good food eco behind it. Great pressure from her. Great map control. And, wow. What a recovery. So, let's look now. Let's look. So, 2-1 is this series. We've got 2 more sets to go. What does this mean for Overtaken? We should be able to go through all the possibilities, right? What does this mean for Overtaken? What does this mean for Slam? What does this mean for Lucho? All right. So, Guki is out. We knew that was going to be the case. Overtaken with 7 wins. So, let's go through. So, Slam Lucho is our last series of the day. Okay. But I really want to go through the potential results there. So, if Slam 3-0s, this should be pretty obvious, right? But if Slam 3-0s, then Overtaken safe, and he's back in Gold League next season, and Lucho goes down with Guki. If Slam 2-1s, Overtaken is down with Guki. If Lucho 2-1s, Slam goes down with Guki. And if Lucho 3-0s, then Slam is relegated as well. Wow, dude, that's crazy. That series is insane. That'll be your final series of the day. And that means that the series we're about to cast should pretty much only affect the top. But let's double check that. So Vivi needs 1 win to get first. That's easy for him. That's super easy. If he gets swept by Sobek, he falls into second, depending on how big Lucho and Slam win, I guess. Okay. Sobek is probably fine, but I do want to check if Vivi gets 3-0'd. If Vivi 3-0's him. If Vivi 3-0's him, he's still safe from the drop, but he might not make playoffs. I see. Okay. What happens? Hold on. What about this, though? Vivi 3-0's, and then Slam wins 2-1. Then we have a 4-way tie at 7 wins. No way, man. That would be insane. 4 people at 7 going to all the tie breaks. That is crazy. And I guess we'll see if that happens. So I kind of doubt that'll happen. That's a crazy scenario. But man, dude. And guys, if Overtaken just had that, he just got that final win. Maybe he makes a couple nights and the rest of it's all peachy for him. He might go playoffs. He doesn't have distress right now. Man, Guki really spoiled it for him. That's ridiculous. So well played to her.